Hello, good evening, and welcome. Good evening. This is the John Maxwell Team Global Youth Initiative. We are here once more, and every year we do two events, two Global Youth Initiative events. So we do one in the month of April, and we do another one in the month of October, excuse me. And that is what we're doing here right now. So we're doing the fall edition of the Global Youth Initiative. It helps twice in a month, twice in a year. So every year we do one. We do an event in the month of April, and we do another event in the month of October. And so I'm so excited to be here with you today to be presenting the very first one in the month of October. And if you want to be part of this, if you want to know how you can be part of this, why don't you drop me a message, drop me a note on how you can participate, how I can bring this to your community of youth. If you have a youth group, if you have a school group, if you have people you want to participate and be part of this Global Youth Initiative. So what we do in the Global Youth Initiative is that we take time to teach kids, to teach youth on values, on leadership values, on values that help them to become the best version of themselves. So we teach things from personal character, we teach things from self-image, self-worth, self-esteem, leadership values, and we also show them how they can explore themselves. So we have something that is called the Youth Exploratory Impact Report. Now, what that report is that it shows youth how they can know their personality style, how they can know about themselves. Because if you know yourself, if you understand your personality style, it helps you in communicating with others. It helps you to know what your strengths are, helps you to know where you should grow, what growth zones should you focus on to becoming the best version of yourself. And so I'm so excited to be presenting this very first one to you today, the first day in October. Just go in and drop in the chat box there and let me know where you are watching or joining in from. I'll be so grateful. I want to know who is watching. I want to know who's joining in. Let me know where you are watching from. Let me know where you are joining in from. Like I said, my name is Tina Obugo. I am a member of the John Maxwell team. I'm not just a member of the John Maxwell team. I am also a part of the John Maxwell leadership in terms of building youth content. So I belong to what we call the President's Advisory Committee on the John Maxwell team for youth development. So we are very passionate about helping our youth, about equipping them with resources and content that will help them to build not just themselves, but to also influence their peers, influence how they make decisions, influence how they lead. You agree with me that there's no better time than to start from when we are kids to begin to learn and incorporate these values that helps us to build ourselves to become the best version of ourselves. If you take what's happening in the world today, what's happening in so many nations in terms of leadership, you begin to ask yourself, where are the morals? Where are the values? Are we actually living the values? Are we actually showing good leadership? And so part of what we do here is to teach kids, to help them become the best version of themselves, to help them incorporate these leadership values into their daily lives, into their school lives, into how they see themselves. And that brings me to what we're talking about today. And so what we're going to be talking about today is actually what I call your true strengths. And it comes from self-esteem, from self-worth, from knowing who you are. So again, my name is Tina Omugo. I am an executive director with the John Maxwell team, and I'm also the founder of John Lugard's Consulting Services here in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, as part of what I do on a daily basis, I work with corporations, I work with businesses to bring in leadership and personal development communication trainings into organizations, helping them understand how they can harness the best out of the people, employee engagement, HR practices, helping people to understand that people truly matter and how we treat them matter. And so the first thing you should do, if you want to understand yourself, if you want to understand other people, is about changing your mindset. It's about harnessing your mindset. What is your mindset about growth? What is your mindset about your beliefs? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe that you can achieve? How far do you think you can go? What are those things that you have been structured to believe that are not serving you now that you can change to harness who you are and who you become in future? And so as part of that, we also offer services to youth, so youth groups, to schools, to youth organizations, to help them build youth, help them build curriculum on how they can actually develop their youth in their community. So thank you for being a part of this, for watching here, for allowing me to share this message with you. And so I'm going to be sharing a very important message with you on inner strength. And to help me get started, I want to talk to you about John Maxwell. Now, you may have heard about John Maxwell, you may not have heard about him, but Dr. John Maxwell is my friend and my mentor. And so you heard me introduce myself as I started as a member of the John Maxwell team. Now, John Maxwell is considered as one of the top leadership experts in the world. He has authored over 100 books. John has been a long time New York Times seller and a great influencer to many leaders around the world. As a member of his team, I have had the pleasure of learning from John personally. I have been privileged to accompany John to 2 countries on country transformation. So I've been with him to Paraguay, I've been with him to Costa Rica on the invitation of the presidents of this country to bring about country transformation. There's nothing quite like learning from the best. Now, because John is passionate about leadership and growing the leaders of today and tomorrow, he has made a personal commitment to growing young people. He is so passionate about growing young people. Today, you are participating in what I call the Youth March, which is also a part of the Global Youth Initiative, which we'll be doing all month long in this October. John's Youth Leadership Development Program is what Youth Max is and the Global Youth Initiative. Now, I'm going to bring into you a teaching from a very special friend of John Maxwell and of the John Maxwell team. He is no other than Nick Vujicic. Nick Vujicic is our Youth Max ambassador. Have you ever heard of Nick? Well, you may have seen some of his YouTube videos. If you've not heard about him, if you've not seen him, Nick was born without any limbs. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. He was born without limbs. He doesn't have legs and he doesn't have arms. And although he was born without limbs, Nick has challenged himself to live life to the fullest, using what he has. He's a successful motivational speaker who shares his personal story and inspires young people to be their best. Now, that is enough from me. Let's hear more about Youth Max from Nick. Let's hear about what he's going to teach. Nick will be discussing the values of being your true self and how his choice to live his authentic self led him to a life filled with success and purpose. Be sure to pay attention to Nick's message. We will need Nick's comments to complete an exercise later in the session at the end of the series. And so I am proud to introduce you to my friend, Nick Vujicic. I will go ahead and share the video of Nick's teaching in a bit, and I hope you will enjoy this.
Hey guys, it's Nick Vujicic here. I want to talk today about your true strength. You know, that saying, we all have heard it before. You don't know what you got till it's gone, right? You know that one. But I want to give you a new one about your inner strength. You don't know what you can actually get through until you get through it. Does that make sense? You know, many of us really cut ourselves short in not really digging deep within us, in our well, in our spirit, in the mindsets of everyday life, where you can really draw strength from. You know, when I was going to school, it was really difficult to draw that strength deep within me because all I was hearing from the outside was, you know, all the voices in your head and everyone saying, you're ugly, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then you start convincing yourself that I'm never going to get myself out of this valley. No, you know what? I want you to know something. There is no secret formula to have a perfect life, but man, you have to give yourself a chance. I'm not going to now tell you that I understand your pain. I'm not going to pretend that at all. In fact, I always tell teenagers, I believe it's worse being in a broken home than having no arms and legs. And I mean that. I want you to know I have no arms and legs, but man, some of you are going through something more difficult than me. And that's why I love to instill this idea in you to know that everyone who's watching this video and people in the world who never watch this video, we're all going through something. You know, it's true when I heard someone once say, brokenness is brokenness, but hope is hope. I want you to know that you are going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. It doesn't mean that everything's perfect, but I want you to know that there is a better way in handling your adversity than sometimes you think. Some of us, you know, we feel like, well, I'm just going to wait and we'll just see what happens. And, you know, they're not being proactive. I want you to be proactive in, first of all, building on your own inner strength, reminding yourself of who you are, what not only do you have within you as far as your gifts and your talents and all that stuff. No. More of saying, you know what? I'm going to get through this. And you need to motivate yourself. You need to become your best ally, your best friend. Some of us think that, you know what, I'm just going to escape from my reality and I'm just going to go with the flow with my friends. And, you know, if I can just change my hair, the way that I walk, the way that I talk, start dropping the F-bomb, then, you know, I'm going to build up my self-confidence that way. Guys, I want you to know that is a bad path to go on. Why? Bad choices only lead to bad things. I want you to know that it is very easy to go down the slope just with everybody else and everybody's fine. It's okay to have sex before marriage. Really? Says who? What are the consequences of those decisions? Just because everyone else isn't a virgin doesn't mean that you shouldn't keep your virginity. I kept mine. Oh, you're a virgin? Yeah. What? So when my 15-year-old boy and I have a talk, a one-on-one talk about love and relationships, I can look him in his eye and say, hey, about that whole virginity thing, I waited for your mother. Why? Because I don't want to share that one special thing that only you have once to share with someone and give it that experience to somebody that I'll never see again. I mean, when you're in high school, your average relationship, you know, is about 3 weeks, 2 days, and 4 seconds long. All right? It's about who's cheated on who and who's gossiping about who. Guys, I am not in a relationship until I am ready to have a serious relationship. I was never looking for a girlfriend. I got a girlfriend because I was looking for a potential wife. Money, drugs, sex, alcohol, pornography, fame and fortune. Even fame and fortune and success, it can become your disability. You can have money and still not be happy. You're not defined by your success. Why, you're going to feel better if you just get that car. You're going to feel better if you just get that job. No, man. Look at your parents. Sometimes they get their promotions and they're still unhappy. You've got to find your inner happiness and the truth of your inner strength. Set your path with cornerstones of good, positive, directive steps. What do you mean, Nick? This is exactly what I mean. Don't go off that path and go to negative things. Don't be disabled not only by what people think that you should do to cope with your stuff, because I've been there. Don't think that what they say about you is true, that you need to be someone you're not. You know, someone came up to me, just even one of my best friends, and said, "Hey, Nick, you got a pretty crap life." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks." He says, "Why don't you any way to get into an investment property? It's not about how much you have. Get this in your mind. It's not about how much money you give. It's about you setting a goal and achieving it. What if it took me 50 years to make a difference in an orphan's life? Is it worth it? Yes. But you know what I realized? The reason why I want to make a difference in someone else's life is because I want to be a miracle for someone else who feels like they have no hope. Who better to start with after you than people around you? The friends and family who maybe are going through depression. Because I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't be the speaker traveling around the world trying to help people become better or more happy and fulfilled until I impacted those closest around me. I couldn't think of having compassion of an orphan who's a stranger on the other side of the world until I started having compassion even against my enemies and my bullies at school. What did I do? I changed the way I thought about them. I built up this inner strength to understand that even when those people attack me, I convinced myself maybe they're going through something so bad at home. Maybe they're going through abuse at home, and I'm just going to show them love. And I need to be maybe perhaps the first person who's shown them forgiveness. That's the inner strength that helps you, not just to get to your goal or your success, or not just to be defending yourself and protecting yourself. This is how you live your life without limits. And no matter what happens to you, I'm unstoppable. Even those people who attack me, man, I'm going to forgive them. I'll even pray for them. I'm not being defined by them. I'm not being defined or limited by my limitations and my disability. I ain't disabled for a second. Nick's dreaming big. Nick's going to set his goals, and he's going to get there. And if it takes 50 years, he's going to keep on going. Set things around yourself that you become your best friend. I saw that African orphan in my mirror. Do something. Make those daily choices. These are the choices I want you to make today that's going to change your life forever. Here's choice number 1. You are not defined by what people think of you. That's a choice, not a fact. It's a choice. Because the fact is led by your choice. If you actually believe that you are defined by other people and you choose to believe that, guess who you're going to be? Exactly. Choose not to be what they say. Your choice changes everything. Second choice, it's going to change everything, that your limitations don't define your success. Don't let your disability or limitation or circumstance around you or atmosphere define who you are and what you're going to succeed in. That's the second choice. Thirdly, choose to be the true you. And when you choose to be the true you that you are, that's when not even success defines you. Your success as whatever your goal is. Let me actually talk about myself. Me as a speaker, Nick Vujicic. If Nick Vujicic was not a speaker, am I still Nick Vujicic? Yes. Do I still have the same value? Yes. What if I wasn't an author? Who cares? Nick Vujicic is still Nick Vujicic. My success was an organic growth journey because of these 3 choices. Make these 3 choices every single day, and you are on a wonderful path of success and fulfillment in your life. And I want to close with a wonderful, most powerful story. I, at 24 years old, was speaking in Southern California in front of a group of about 250 people. And lo and behold, to my, I was surprised, to my amazement, there was a man holding up a little child. And this child was 19 months old. His name was Daniel. This little kid had no arms and no legs. He had a little foot just like me. I couldn't believe it. I got the father to bring him up on stage in front of the whole crowd. He's so beautiful, had no arms, no legs, exactly like me. And I'm thinking, man, I want to wrestle you later on. I looked at him and he looked up at me, and I obviously can't give him a high five, so I put my little foot on his little foot and gave him a low 2. Man, it was awesome. He smiled and everyone cried. Why? Because it was a miracle. Remember how I told you that miracles can come from broken pieces? Man, give yourself a chance. Give your broken pieces a chance, because I tell you right now, there is a greater purpose for what you're going through. What if what you're going through can help someone else literally save their own lives? Help them go not only in a positive direction in life, but lead a legacy of changing other people around them too. That's the kind of life I want to choose to live. Man, I tell you, little Daniel, that little boy, he started watching videos of me swimming. And now he's like, swim like Nick, swim like Nick. And I hugged his mom and his dad. And I saw my mom and my dad hug his parents and cry. It was incredible. Daniel went to school and he was getting bullied and teased. And so I went to his school. And no, I didn't go up to his bullies and headbutt him in the face as much as I wanted to. But what I did do is I shared a simple message of love. And after that simple message of hope and love, not only is Daniel accepted at school, he's now respected at school, and now he's living a life without limits. Living a life that is a miracle for others can be achievable. And I want you to understand that once you figure out that you have an inner strength and you find your true strength, that's the well that you can draw down from and up and out of your words and out of your actions and out of your reactions to the world's judgment on you or the circumstances that seem limiting to you. You are gonna be okay. You're gonna get through this. Not only are you gonna get through this storm, you're gonna fly above this storm, my friends. I did, and I know so will you.
Awesome. Wow. Wasn't that just so profound? I mean, I was almost tearing up. I don't know about you, but I was almost tearing up by Nick's sharing and by his story. You so look at Nick. He shared a lot about the importance of our inner strength. Who are you? What defines you? Do you let what other people think about you or what other people say about you define who you are? Knowing who we are and just how strong we are can allow us to do amazing things. What do you believe about yourself? What do you think about yourself? You know, the dictionary defines self-esteem as a person's overall sense of self-worth or personal value. What value do you place on yourself? How much do you appreciate yourself and like yourself? It's about your belief, about how you appraise yourself, your appearance, your emotions, your behaviors. What do you say about yourself? What do you think about yourself? How do you see yourself? And then what is self-worth? It comes from understanding yourself, self-understanding, self-love, self-acceptance. You know, Nick said when he had gone to the school of little Daniel and he spoke a message of hope and love, Daniel became accepted and became respected. Have you accepted yourself for who you are? That is self-worth. Accepting me for who I am. That Tina Obugo, irrespective of my achievements or what I have not achieved, I am still Tina Obugo. And you heard Nick say it, that whether he's an actor or an author, or whether he is not an author, whether he's a motivational speaker or he's not even an accomplished motivational speaker, it does not change who he is as Nick Vujicic. What is the worth you place on yourself? Do you understand you? Do you accept you? Do you love you? Because nothing, not the circumstances you face in life, regardless of how you see yourself, changes who you truly are. And so who are you as a person? What do you say to yourself? What do you say about yourself? How do you see yourself? Look at Nick. He has no arms, he has no legs. And he did not have many people believe in him, but he believed in himself. He was strong, and that's what propelled him to accomplish all he has, and is still accomplishing today. And so when we think of strength, many times we think of the image on the screen, we think of that external thing, we think of physical strength. But true strength is usually not seen. It is something within us. And so I ask you, you watching this, what does strength look like to you? You know, growing up, we often find ourselves tempted by things that may give us a temporary excitement or comfort. But we know in our heart that they are not right. It could be associated with the wrong friends. getting into drugs, getting into sexual activities that do not serve us right. Oftentimes, we look at these things to fill a void in our lives because we simply have not committed to live our truth. What is your truth? What do you believe about yourself? Saying no to temptations increases your strength. So how often are you faced with temptations, and then how do you resist them? Once you're able to resist the temptations that come your way, it increases your strength. And when you are true to yourself and the things you know are right, you can say no to the things that will keep you from living your truth. Take a few moments to consider Nick's message. He mentioned a lot of points. How did that make you feel? What were some of the ideas or thoughts that Nick's message brought to your mind? What can you change today in who you are, in what you believe about yourself, in what you believe you can accomplish in life? Each of us can either live the life we're called to be, or live a life based on what other people believe we should be living. I don't know about you, but I would rather live the life that I am called to live, irrespective of whether people believe in me or what they think about me. I'd rather live a life filled with purpose and positivity. What about you? I'd rather make tough choices and not succumb to negative influences. I'd rather be true to myself. As a kid, as a youth listening to me, what wrong choices are you making? What negative influences are you succumbing to? In order to live the life you're called to be, you must make these three choices that Nick mentioned, that we should live by them daily, and they will help you increase your strength. The first choice he talked about is you are not defined by what people think of you. And that is so true. Irrespective of what people think of you, irrespective of how people see you, that does not define you. So who are you? Who do you believe you are? Choice number 2 is limitations do not define your success. Nick is disabled, but he did not allow the limitations of being disabled to define his success, to define what he can achieve in life. And so not your situation, not your environment, not your limitation defines your success. The third choice is that choose to be true to yourself. Choose to be your true self. Not even success defines you. No, because success can be taken away from you. But your true self, your true self-worth can never be taken away from you. So choose today to be true to yourself. You know, Mahatma Gandhi, one of the greatest leaders for social justice, once said, be congruent, be authentic, be your true self. And against all odds and in the face of people who disagreed with his beliefs, we know that Mahatma Gandhi was his true self. Who is the true you? Who are you in the inner core of yourself? This question is something that you will be asking yourself and answering for the rest of your life as you evolve. Who am I? Don't be overwhelmed by that. It's natural. Over time, you will change and experiences may mold and shape who you become. But the core of who we are rarely changes. That is your inner self-worth. Nick's story of personal development began with the question, who am I? And once he was able to answer those questions, he began to find purpose in and for his life. He no longer was living to die. He no longer thought about death as an option for him. Even as a young person, he knew that he was placed on earth to change people's lives. He stopped focusing on what he didn't have and reminded himself to be grateful for what he did have. Yes, he didn't have arms and legs, but he's had his little chicken wing, and he has been able to accomplish so much with that. Many times along his journey, he found himself alone. He didn't have many friends. And so you may be one of those people who do not have many friends. And people do not believe in you or in your dreams. But Nick did not allow his aloneness to overwhelm him. He did not allow his aloneness to be loneliness. There's a difference between aloneness and loneliness. You may be alone, but don't allow yourself to be driven to loneliness. Nick found that his aloneness didn't define him. Similarly, your level of popularity doesn't define your success. The true you, who you are, defines your success and who you are and will become. And so as I leave you today, as I end this session, I'm asking you, what is your biggest takeaway from what Nick shared today? What is that thing that you have learned from all we have shared today? How can you become yourself? How can you actually maximize your true worth? To understand who you truly are, who you have been called to be in life. You have choices that you can make. Nick shared with us 3 choices that he has been making in his life and that he makes every day that has helped him to define who he is, to define who he has become and who he is becoming. And so who are you? Who are you called to become? What is your life's mission? You can only discover that when you know your true worth, when you understand that the circumstances or the situations you find yourself or your environment does not define you, does not define your true worth. Your true worth is at the inner core of yourself. And the choices that Nick mentioned when he was talking about is that the first choice is that you are not defined by what people think of you. You are who you are at the inner core of yourself. Your limitations do not define your success. Not your situation, not your environment, not your limitation defines your success. And I choose to be your true self because not even success defines you. You are who you are at the true core of your being, your inner self, whom God has called you to be. Your life experiences may differ. You may change because you are evolving over time. What you experience in life will mold and shape who you become. But the core of who you are rarely changes. And so for you to discover who you are, you need to be asking yourself this question: who am I? It is a question you keep asking yourself for the rest of your life. Because as you evolve and discover who you are, you find your purpose in and for your life. And as you discover your purpose, you discover what your true worth is. Along the journey of your life, there may be times when you find yourself alone. There may be times where you will not have your friends close to you. But that should not diminish who you are. It should not diminish who you are at the core of you. And so as I end this session today, I want to leave you with these 3 words. Know who you are. You are important. You are important. Never forget that. That's an acronym for YOU. The Y is that you are important. You are unique. The O is only you are you. There are not two people who are alike, not even the most identical twins. Everyone is different and we all have different gifts, different talents, different skills. So learn to develop your skill, learn to develop your talents, learn to develop the gifts that you have. And then the you is that understand who you are. For you to truly know your worth, for you to truly become your best version, you must take time to understand who you are and who do you want to become? Who are you evolving to become? And so as I end this session today, I say thank you, thank you, thank you for listening, for watching. If you're one of those who are watching this live, if you have joined me live, thank you. And don't forget to share your greatest takeaway from this session. Until I come your way again, bringing you another session of the Global Youth Initiative in this month of October, this is Tina Obugo saying, be well and know that you matter.